Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Wannabes podcast. I am your host today, Luke. With me, as always, is Morgan and the fiended one himself, Anthony. What's up, guys?
What up, though?
Heyo, heyo. I'm
I
still
was
running it
totally
though.
aiming in the wrong direction.
He's
Whatever.
running it verbally. I'm running it physically.
I'm just
Switch
here.
switch those scenes.
Yeah.
Anyway, today we are going to be
Marketing.
reviewing Marvel's Thunderbolts. I have thoughts. I'm sure you guys do as well.
I do.
But in the meantime, we got just a little snippet of news. So, Anthony, take it away, my guy.
All right. News time. Do we have the transition going?
We sure do. Go for it.
All right. Here we are. So let me start with a little teaser we got about 2 days ago, actually. So, as we all know, we're all fans of the Into the Spider-Verse movies, the animated ones. I think one of the standout characters, particularly from the first one, was Nicolas Cage as Spider-Man Noir. Well, I think we brought it up before on the podcast a couple times in the past, but Spider-Man Noir, starring Nicolas Cage, was getting an actual show on Amazon Prime, or should I say Prime Video. And 2 days ago, we got our very first teaser for said show, actually. So in this teaser, it's all black and white, so they're staying with the aesthetic.
Yes.
And the costume is very accurate to, I would say, the Spider-Verse movie costume. I don't know how Luke, how accurate is it to the comic one? Because I know he's got like the all black going on, and he's got like the goggles.
It's different from the comics. He doesn't have a trench coat. He doesn't have a fedora. The black is there. The goggles are there. The comic and video game version is, I don't know, I guess a little more dressed down. The fedora and the trench coat I'm cool with, but those are not in the comic or the game.
Okay.
Games, I guess I should say.
We should be figuring that of course, they're going to base it off the Spider-Verse variation of it, since it is still starring Nicolas Cage, actually.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, what are your guys' thoughts on said teaser?
Morgan?
Well, honestly, I don't hate it. I think it's looking pretty good. I'm excited to see what's going to happen with it. I know everybody's a little, well, we'll see how Nicolas Cage does. And I'm very, very curious to see how well he does in this role as it being his role, his movie, because we've only ever seen Nicolas Cage in his role as Spider-Man Noir being a side character and a very quiet side character. So I'm very curious to see how well he's able to take this character into the limelight.
Yeah, I'm intrigued in the sense that this whole thing is weird to me. Like, it's weird that it's happening. It's weird it's on Amazon. It's weird that Nicolas Cage is doing it.
It is very weird it's on Amazon.
The synopsis is kind of weird because it's not like it's an aging Spider-Man that we're dealing with here. It's an aging Spider-Man Noir. He's not like a fresh out of the boat or anything.
Sure.
The camera angles that I've seen in the trailer remind me of like bad Sony movies. So that kind of gives me pause.
Sure.
I want to like this, but obviously, I got to wait and see. But as far as giving me the character, it does look like it so far. Yeah, I'm gonna watch it when it comes out. But the fact that it's on Prime, it's just that's such a weird. It's a weird choice. Like Netflix, everything's either on Netflix or fucking Disney as far as Spider-Man is concerned, anyway. So how the fuck did Amazon get this thing?
Money.
Probably Sony.
Money.
I'm glad that it's a show, but I'm gonna be honest. I think Nick Cage is a little too old to do like the actual Spider-Man stuff. So I imagine when it's like the suit, it's probably gonna be somebody else. But I'm also if they do it, because I haven't heard anything about Nicolas Cage being outside of the costume playing a character. So I'm very curious to see what we're gonna do with that. I assume it's a Peter Parker. What's he gonna do with his Peter Parker? What's he gonna do with the character in general? I already know what he's gonna do with Spider-Man Noir. I've gotten 2 movies of it, and it's great. But what's he going to do with the other stuff? Because I can't imagine this just being him in the costume the whole show. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So yeah. Looking forward to it. I am looking forward to it. I would say my hype level out of 10 is probably like a 6.5.
I can't say I necessarily have hype for the thing, honestly. I'm intrigued to see where it goes. I like to imagine the line, sometimes like matches burn down on my fingertips just to feel something, anything, is going to be a big inspiration to what his character is going to be like, probably.
Okay, so that's another thing too. What the fuck is the tone going to be like? Because given how the character is in the comics, in the games, it's very much like a hard-nosed noir type of story, right? He's
Mhm.
not goofy. He's more mean, if anything. So I'm curious to see what they're gonna do with that. If it's got a bunch of humor in it, I'm probably gonna get turned off. Just be completely honest with you. But if they lean more into the noir aspect, the detective shit, because that's basically what he is in those stories. Okay, cool. I can get on board with that. So, what's your tone gonna be?
I think that I think the comedy works more in the Spider-Verse movies when he's got other characters to bounce off of, like his super animated Spider-Ham
I
or
do too.
even Penny Parker. But on his
Yeah.
own, that's a different story, actually. I wouldn't mind if he wasn't like funny, but if he had like a line or two that's just like maybe sarcastic or not super quippy, but just kind of like fits the tone in a way, I would say.
Yeah, he's
I wouldn't
Spider-Man. He's
mind
got to
that.
say something that's funny. I'm sure he will. Like just like but
We
no
get some
knuckle
decent
sandwiches or anything
we
like
get
that.
some decent simple humor from him even in, the animated, Spider-Verse
Hmm.
films. So I don't expect there to be absolutely no humor from this
If
Spider-Man
he's
noir.
unintentionally funny, that's cool.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
I
That's the
don't
better
want
way to
it
put
to
it.
be forced. It needs
Right.
to be natural.
Right.
I'm very much okay with that. That's I think the
Mhm.
best way you can tackle if they want to make him at all humorous because Spider-Man Noir was funny in the Spider-Verse movie. Actually, he has the
Mhm.
most quotable lines, if you ask me.
Yeah. And I mean it fits in that narrative. His characterization fits in that narrative as a side character, but now it's his thing. So what
Do
are
you
we
guys
gonna
think
do?
he still has the Rubik's cube that'll
Yeah.
be in color? I hope to
Yeah.
see
Oh,
it.
I
Oh,
hope we see it.
Don't quote me on this, but supposedly it's supposed to be in color as well when it releases.
I saw that too. I saw that as
Okay.
well.
Yes,
All
I've
right. Quote
also
me on that
heard
then.
that it'll be in black and white and in color. That doesn't surprise me because some people do struggle enjoying and watching black and white films.
Yeah, but they
Um,
suck.
Also, truthfully, it might be for an accessibility bit for people who are colorblind. I don't know how easy. I've never been colorblind, so I don't know if black and white's even harder for them to watch. Um, so I don't know. That's actually a scientific thing. I'd love to know find out. Or if one is easier than the other. I'm not sure. But because of the muted colors for people who are colorblind, it might be easier for them to consume a colored piece because of like the depth that they might get. They might get better depth than looking at a actual black and white film. I could be completely wrong though. I don't know. It might actually
Last
be better the opposite way for all I know.
last thing I got a question honestly because I just thought about it when I brought up the Rubik's cube. Even though it's based off of design from Spider-Verse and it is the same actor who did Spider-Verse, do we actually think it's the same character from Spider-Verse?
I do.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I
That's just a
do.
little
I
worry I
don't I
have.
don't see
But
why not.
This could very well be a prequel.
I was about to say that. If
It
we don't
doesn't
have
have to be a
anything
follow-up.
any relating if we don't have anything related um to Spider-Verse, it might be because it's a prequel.
Yeah,
probably.
and I mean they do jump in and out of dimensions now, so who's to say? But that's why
We'll
it's
see.
intriguing, right? So
Mhm.
hey,
Alrighty then. Well, that takes care of our Spider-Man, or should I say Spider Noir teaser. So our next trailer we have is Superman, official like release trailer. I'll say the same thing I've said before because people hated Henry when he first announced. They hate who the hell is this guy? David when he's been announced, and everyone just got something to say.
well,
It
the
looks
hate for this
fine.
dude, I'm fine with because he basically looks like Henry Cavill anyway, which I guess is like the Superman look as it is. But like Brandon Roth looks distinctive, Christopher Reeve looks distinctive, Henry Cavill looks distinctive. This dude looks like a smaller Henry Cavill. Like you could have just kept going with him,
He's just
but I get
budget.
it.
He's just budget Henry Cavill.
Yeah, we didn't want to pay Henry that much money. Like I get it, and so I understand the hate a little bit more in this instance, but it is a bit much. I'm sorry. Please continue.
Yeah, well, the hate is just people are never satisfied with fucking anything. At this point,
No,
fandoms, shut the
especially
fuck up.
anymore. Holy
Not on
cow,
the
But
anymore
internet.
it's been awful.
but honestly, it looks fine. Like I'm still going to be vocal and say I'm not going to just immediately hate because it's not Zach or Henry. But I will be honest when I say I miss that duo of Superman, as
Mhm.
that is the Superman that made me like and respect Superman. I will give it credit where credit is due. But for what it's worth, I'm still gonna give it a chance. Um, I mean, James Gunn has made good stuff before. Some of his, I'm starting to notice that I don't know if I fully love some of James Gunn's style, especially what I'm seeing in certain shots of this movie. A lot of weird kind of close-ups that I'm not a big fan of, actually. But some of his cinematography when it comes to showing off Superman's like powers actually is pretty cool. But it looks fine. I'm not excited, but I'm not like oh fuck this movie. It's just it looks fine.
I'm not all fuck this movie either. I like the fact that it's colorful. I really do. I do like the fact that Crypto's in there. Like he's given what he's done with the Suicide Squad and particularly Guardians of the Galaxy, he very much can manage like family friendly shit with dark shit. And that's probably what's going to happen here. And you know, I think he did a better job at doing it with Guardians of the Galaxy. So if he leans more into that, I think we're good. And it kind of seems like that's what he's doing, given the fact that it's not just Superman, it's Crypto, it's Mr. Atom, or what's that dude's name? Mr. Fantastic. And there's a couple other, you know, lesser knowns in here. Like he's pretty good.
Don't we get a new Green Lantern?
Like, and he's pretty good at bringing characters together and letting everybody have some shine. And even though it says Superman, it's probably going to be like a soft launch of Justice League or his Justice League or some shit.
Yeah.
And that's cool. That's fine. I'm sure Nicholas Holt's going to be amazing as fucking Lex Luthor. You know, the action does look good. Superman's powers look like they're pretty well represented. And I do like that it's colorful. So yeah, no, I'm not. Again, the hype isn't high, but I'm not going into it like when Man of Steel came out. I was like, fuck that movie. I'm not watching it. It took me forever to watch it. It wasn't until that bump that said longest episode of DBZ I've ever seen where I was like, all right, I'll entertain this movie.
Wow, that's what it took you to watch it. Okay.
Facts. Morgan?
Well, yeah.
Honestly, I think it's looking pretty good. You know, I don't think this from what we've seen so far deserves the hate that it's getting, but you know, all the crazy fandom people need to like just chill the F out, like in every other fandom we've been talking about lately. I'm curious to see where it's going to go. And I'm curious to see what is going to be developed with these new characters that we're being introduced to, whether they're ones we've seen before on the screen and didn't maybe have their best screen time, like Green Lantern, just to point fingers at least one. But I'm curious to see like what they're going to do and how this is going to maybe shape the the DC universe.
Yeah. I mean, look at it like this. Guardians of the Galaxy came out. We were like a talking raccoon. What the fuck? Talking raccoon is one of the best characters in the movie. Some people's favorite. Kind of
I mean,
mine.
he has surprising depth to
No,
him.
yeah. Fucking Suicide Squad comes out. And we're like a giant starfish. End up being pretty cool. This is coming out. Crypto's in it. Like, it's probably going to be fine, guys. This movie is not in bad hands. And at worst, it's probably Superman Returns. At best, I think it's got the possibility of being up there with the original Superman or the first Man of Steel.
Fair enough. Going back to Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor, he looks really good as Lex Luthor.
He actually does. My God, does that man have the head to be bald?
He really does.
You got a good head. You got to have a good head to be bald. I couldn't do it. I got too many dents. It'd be awful.
That hilarious. Like, good head shape. Good head shape.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm when it comes out, I know we're gonna watch it. We're gonna review it, and I'm absolutely looking forward to that. But I've never been the biggest Superman fan anyway. But like James Gunn knows what he's doing, so
no, same, big time, same. Like I said, it took freaking Man of Steel to make me like him.
Well, if Zach could get to his point faster, I think we're still doing the Zack Snyder Justice League shit. But like he's not very good at building stuff as it is. We've seen what he did with the Justice League and with the fucking Rebel Moon movies. Like, somebody's got to help him. Somebody just needs to let him know, like, dude, just fucking get to the point. Stop with the slow motion. Get where you need to go and, like, throw some cool shit in there. And then we'll be fine. But he doesn't do that. He's got to throw in 30 minutes of slow-mo farming.
Yeah, well, that was Rebel Moon. But when it comes to Superman, I do feel like his DC was getting to the point until studios panicked. That's what halted. The studios panicked.
He will always be a victim of the Avengers. Like
So
it just
unfortunately,
is what
yes.
it is, man. If it wasn't Batman at that time, if it wasn't a Marvel movie, it's not making $1 billion, and that's unfortunate because you definitely take away the voice of your storytellers. And the man had a pretty interesting story going on. Superman is a god, Wonder Woman is a god. Like fucking, let's see where this goes. But nope.
And for the record, like even if you weren't making Marvel money, Batman v Superman didn't flop. Like if you
No.
look at that budget and what it made back, like it made money. It
Yeah.
really did.
Yep.
So like
It just comes down to corporate greed.
Yeah,
this
it
is
needed
one
to
of
make
the
Avengers money.
I feel like this like that, and this is one of the only times where I feel like the studio panicked not at the money it wasn't making, but at the reception. Like I actually always hear more about the reception scared them more than the money because like until Justice League, like no DCEU movie was like flopping. Like they were making money, they really were.
Yeah, middling reviews or mixed reviews and all that shit. And again, he is the victim of the golden age of Marvel movies.
Yeah,
Marvel couldn't fail at that point. They could not fail. Which is something I'll
that's
bring up once we get into our review.
fair enough. So yeah, that takes care of our talk of the new Superman movie. Next up, all right, let's talk about this. Is gonna be fun, right? So we officially have our teaser for the fact that it's in production, the new Godzilla Kong movie. Oh, there's a new Nobody 2 trailer. I didn't see the first Nobody, so my bad, Tyler.
The first Nobody is pretty fucking sweet.
Oh, yeah?
I saw the trailer, but I didn't watch the trailer. Sorry, Tyler, I gotta check that out. But yeah, I'm excited to see where that goes because I mean, that's another thing where I went, oh really, we're doing this? But John Wick lives on in many forms. What are we gonna do?
I suppose he does. But what was I gonna say? Okay, so Godzilla Kong, the new Godzilla Kong film, got its first teaser to tell us that hey, it's in production, like it really is happening, and will be released on March 26th in 2027, titled Godzilla Kong Supernova.
Yo, this Godzilla shit that's been coming out lately is amazing.
Did you see the new like green atomic breath Godzilla?
Uh-huh.
I want to see that in a movie. That looked cool as fuck.
That's supposed to be the -1 Godzilla with a new redesign. I don't know if what the fuck is his name? I don't know if the director has anything to do with that because he's busy making a new Godzilla ride in Japan while working on the sequel to -1. Like, holy shit. So much stuff. 70 years. Let's go.
Hell yeah. Let's go.
But yeah, what do you think? What do you think about Supernova?
Well, I mean, we don't have much to go off of the teaser. I'm just happy to know that it's being worked on actively. But let's talk about the title, Supernova.
Look, I have said this before. The last few Godzilla films have been the best Showa era Godzilla movies I've ever seen. They're fantastic. They are so much fun. Whatever, physics be damned, they're fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
However, now that -1 has come out, it would be nice if this took a little bit more of a serious tone.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little. Godzilla is still a walking atomic bomb. There have been no repercussions for any of the destructions that he's created. We literally blew up an ancient civilization in King of the Monsters, wasted probably the best villain. I put that aside. Have discovered a whole new Middle Earth. Like nothing makes sense, but it's cool. But like it would be nice if things would start to kind of make sense again because you still have atomic level threats that are not feeling like threats. These movies are fun, but just given what -1 did, I would like to go a little bit more in that direction, like the first American Godzilla,
or at least Monarch,
yeah.
or at least King of the Monsters, at least because King of the Monsters was fun, but it felt like more
King
whimsical.
of the Monsters is still pretty grounded.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I thought when I heard the title Supernova, I was like, that sounds Showa again. And
yeah,
look at the font of the word Supernova. It looks fun goofiness again.
Well, and it's gonna be another like Godzilla's first build, but it's definitely a Kong movie. Which okay.
Hold on. Let's not, because the reason they were Kong movies is because Adam Wingard was behind it. Adam's not here.
Okay. I'll reserve my judgment on that, but given the color scheme and everything in the font, that's kind of what it feels like.
We'll see. We will see. However, listen, I have a theory. It's called supernova, right? What are supernovas? That's like when a star explodes. Where a star is located? Space. What comes to space? Aliens. What aliens do we have to work with now still that haven't shown up? We got Gigan. We got maybe Space Godzilla. No, Megalon was not an alien. Who knows? Maybe it could be one of those two.
So
look, I'm gonna be
I
real
like
with
where
you.
your head's at. I love where your head's at, and especially with the Gigan Rex short, I would love me some Gigan. Space
That's
Godzilla
what I really
would be
want.
cool too. Space Godzilla would be cool too, but like I don't know how they would work that to make Space Godzilla work. You know what I mean? We haven't had any kind of hints.
True.
I mean, Destroyer runs kind of hot.
Oh, I'm scared if Destroyer shows up. I'm actually scared of that.
That would be cool. What else? Rodan, like he's not dead. He's still out there. He runs hot.
Mothra's back. Mothra's back.
God.
Personally, we already know who I want to see, and I'm getting really upset that I haven't seen him.
Wait, hold on. Bylante?
No. I think that's where they're going with the Japanese ones, though. Like
that could work.
I'm not trying to spoil anything if it does happen, but like there is a theory out there that because Noriko has Godzilla next, she's gonna turn to Bylante. Like that'd be dope.
Oh no, give her a break.
Yeah, no, that'd be awesome.
Oh no.
But who am I talking about though?
Wait, Jet Jaguar?
Come on. Huh?
Jet Jaguar?
No. Dude,
Hang
he's
on.
got the best intro ever. It's King Caesar.
Oh no! I don't. Stay away from this movie.
He would fit perfectly in what they're doing right now. No. King Caesar would be the dude. He could karate kick fucking Godzilla, just bam.
No, I don't want a 15-minute song to wake that motherfucker up.
That'd be amazing. That's why it's called Supernova. That's the name of the song to wake him up.
Is it really?
No.
Oh my god, I don't say.
But I'm just saying.
Look.
But in all seriousness, though, like I'm hyped. Obviously anything Godzilla, I'm down for. But that is genuinely what I want to see. I want to see it take a little bit more serious because since Kong, Godzilla King of the Monsters, it really has gotten more and more
goofier.
I'm just gonna say childish, which is fine because I love the Showa era Godzillas, but like I love the serious ones, the original, the ones from the 90s that have a nice continuity, the 2014 one. Like, come on, there's really fucking a -1. They made that shit in a fucking parking lot, guys. Like, come on, we can do it. We can do something that is along those lines, and I would love to see it just one time.
Same. Okay, we kind of took over. Morgan, what do you think?
So, I don't really have like all of the theories like y'all might have, because y'all know about more of the expanse of the MonsterVerse a little bit better than I do. Mine is a little bit more narrow in knowledge than your guys's, but I do know I've done I've read a little bit on like what people's theories are. And I know that one out there specifically because of like the really hard angles of the logo and just obviously the supernova, the space theme, like everybody's out there really thinking that this whole logo and design of the logo is really pointing at the return and our get of Gigan. So, that's probably currently where I'm standing with like I could see it. Like if we go and we look at the old designs of what Gigan looks like, I could see how they're playing, especially with that N, like how they're trying to play with the design of like the beak and then like the head horns and everything. I could see it. We'll see. I'm obviously very excited. Ryan can also go fuck himself. We're still Team Godzilla, though at this point it doesn't matter anymore. If he watches, I hope he.
I mean, he lost. He lost.
Did.
It doesn't matter. He lost. It's on video. It's out.
He lost again too. He lost.
Yeah.
He did lose again too. So.
Yeah, so that's a non-discussion. But Gigan probably makes the most sense. After that is probably Space Godzilla. But like, Space Godzilla is a bit of a stretch for me. So and like I said, I want it to be taken a little bit more seriously if we're gonna do Gigan. Because Gigan, with his design and the weapons that he brings and shit, like
that's a motherfucker right there. He actually makes Godzilla bleed.
He's literally an alien cyborg. So
yeah.
With a fucking chainsaw, razor saw on his fucking chest.
Yep.
I will say this too. If they do Gigan, I really hope they make him more based off his Final Wars design. Because Showa Gigan looks a little too much like a chicken. And Final Wars Gigan looks menacing and like can beat someone's ass.
Facts. But do we have a Heisei Geigen? We don't have a Heisei.
No,
No.
Geigen only showed up in 2 Showa movies and then Final Wars.
Right. Yeah, because it was a big deal when he showed up in Final Wars, and he's got like the extra chainsaw hands.
Yeah, after he lost the first time, and then
I
he
would
came
like-
back with the same chainsaw hands.
I would like more of a Geigen Rex thing. You know, Geigen Rex is sweet.
Mm-hmm.
And what he does with the other Geigens, like if there's an army of Geigens that show up, that'd be fucking awesome. But hey,
yeah,
but
he's gonna need Kong's help.
it leads to a lot of excitement. Like it's a very good time to be a Godzilla fan right now. And holy shit, is that momentum just keep moving? And now like everybody's up in their game. So we, the Americans, need to do it too. Like they're fucking killing it over there on that side of the pond. We need to do it here. Otherwise, what the fuck was the point?
Right, fair enough.
Plus, if we think about it, we've already seen, Kong, for example, be augmented now by his Beast Glove, and I think if we take like the Beast Glove and and just kind of the theme of what we're seeing from this logo, I'm not surprised if we're gonna start going like the Gigan route and maybe eventually from Gigan developing slowly and eventually to Space Godzilla.
Well, not to get on a huge diatribe or keep talking about this, but like if they're supposed to be Godzilla movies, right? And the last 2, he's in there, but they're not his movies. And especially coming off of -1, the Godzilla can hold a movie all by himself. You just gotta know what the fuck you're doing, and like commit. And have interesting human characters. That's true. Also true. Why can't we do that? Why can't Godzilla be the threat that he's supposed to be, and we're supposed to figure it out? Instead, he's teaming up with Kong, and we're gonna beat the bad guy. Fun, but come on. I've had 2 movies of this now. I think I'm okay.
I don't mind them teaming up, but I want more focus on Godzilla. I really want more focus on Godzilla.
Agreed.
Correct. And the last one, I think we can all admit the CGI and shit, it took a step back. So
yeah.
I want to step up after I saw a $15 million parking lot masterpiece, and I'm going to hold on to this forever. You're spending hundreds of millions of dollars on these movies, and it doesn't look anywhere near as good as what I got out of Japan for a fraction of the price in a fucking parking lot. Come on, guys.
Also,
500 terabytes they had for that thing.
Also, going off of like interesting human characters, Trapper from New Empire is returning, so that he's a fun character, I guess.
He's cool.
But hold on a
Hall's
sec.
character is all right.
She's not in this though. Like a lot, like Bernie's not. We have a whole new crew, including Sam Neill. So Dr. Alan Grant, he crossed over, and we wait a minute. Whoa! Hold on a sec. Jack O'Connell and Delroy Lindo. Oh fuck! We got vampires in this goddamn movie. It's sinners all over again.
Look, just have them actually do something. Just have them do something besides discover another ancient civilization that backs our way into victory. Like, come on.
Well, we'll see how this goes. The most exciting thing I got for Monstrous that I want more of is Monarch. I want that. Yeah. I want season 2 of that really badly.
I cannot wait.
I have to finish that show, period. I need to
please finish it. Man,
somebody let me borrow their Apple.
Dude,
I don't have Apple right now.
But other than that, what else we got? Anything? Morgan,
I'll let you take this one because you brought it up.
Yeah, so I'm gonna bring up the one article you sent to me, Luke. So the last bit of news actually is gonna be surrounding the major one of the biggest theaters actually worldwide, which is AMC theaters. Yeah, the biggest actually. So it's actually the losses at the world's largest cinema has been really bad. Real bad, guys. It's right now sitting at around, actually probably at this point a little more, but it's sitting around 202.1 million losses worldwide as box office got off to a really rough start in 2025. We've talked about how beginning of the year box office is always really rough. That's when you guys see us really go in and like do a lot of reviewing of things that are on streaming, or we do throwback movie reviews and other breakdowns. We do other stuff during that time because the box office just doesn't have a lot of things really good or hardly anything at all releasing at it. So
it's the slow season.
Yeah, it's the very slow season. So honestly, like just to kind of paint the financial picture that it has, like last year's, like the prior year quarter for AMC's losses hit 163.5 million, where now we're like we're not double, but we're pushing that for them. And with that being said, I bring this up because I want to mention something that I read. Kitty actually sent this to me, so thank you. Um, AMC is actually cutting their prices on Wednesdays by half, starting on July 9th. So this is in an effort to get more folks in for a movie during the midweek slump, and also once we get into the midsummer, especially around like that July, like June and July is also, though there are good movies coming out, less people are going out all the time because they want to enjoy the weather. Um, so yeah, they're just this, for anybody who wants to know, ticket prices for Wednesday are getting cut by 50% starting on July 9th. So if you can't make it, for us, for example, like we usually do Tuesdays at MJR, and I know AMC also has cheaper ticket days on Tuesday as well. Um, but now you're gonna also get even cheaper ticket days over at AMC on Wednesdays as well. So that's just to show how much they're struggling. That the fact that they're giving another day, the company that definitely charges the most for anything in regards to their movies, they're cutting their prices on a single day to try to get more people in. So it just goes to show how much they're financially struggling right now. There's been talks for years and years about bankruptcy for this company, and that could still be looming in their future.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because we do enjoy going to see movies on a Tuesday because ticket prices are cheaper, and usually the theaters are pretty packed,
They're
right?
Whenever I go, they're
Especially,
usually pretty full.
yeah. If
We get
it's
a good
like
turnout.
if it's one of those tentpole movies and we miss it on the Friday, we go see it on Tuesday. The shit is pretty lit, and I enjoy it. So that doesn't surprise me that that's the move. They are a multi-billion-dollar company. So what'd you say? 230, 230 mil.
Let me scroll up. It is sitting at 202.
Okay, so in all honesty, it's not a big loss when you make billions of dollars, but at the same time,
It's
when you
just
are
climbing each year though.
well, right, and when you're the biggest theater chain, because all you do is buy up all these smaller chains so you can have a theater on every continent, like what the fuck do you think is going to happen? You know what I mean?
Especially too, if we want to compare their prices for concessions alone, because as we've discussed on this show before, guys, most theaters only really make their actual like income from concessions, not so much from the tickets themselves. Though there is a small commission they get from the ticket. Really, that's why people complain about concession prices. That's why the concessions are so high. But
Right.
if we want to compare them just to our other one of our other local theaters, MJR is sizably cheaper than AMC.
Absolutely.
And that
There's
is
not as
why,
many.
yeah, there's not as many. And honestly, I always have a better quality of experience. I usually have a better comfortability. I think the seats are better. I like the popcorn better. Like it's just one of those things where it's like, that they're cutting corners because they're a big corporation that wants to make money. Not that MGR doesn't, but I do think MGR is more budget friendly for those people.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, I'm not just one person going anymore. I'm always myself and Dan, so being able to go somewhere that's more affordable for a couple is important to us.
Katie, that's even more of a reason why like this is really just a drop in the bucket. But yeah, obviously the fact that movies that we all really want to see, Marvel has kind of died down. There's no more Star Wars movies coming out. It's all on streaming. Um, the DC stuff has to get going again. Like there really aren't these big tentpole movies like we were seeing 5, 10, 15 years ago that got us
Especially
in
with
there in the
what's
first
happened with
place.
the MCU lately, with
Well, yeah,
with
the
having to
quality,
backtrack on Kang.
all their quality and shit, it's all dipping, but it's all due to the same thing. Everything's just kind of getting churned out. We just want profit. But now it's starting to get to the point where they're realizing, like, yeah, we're not gonna fucking spend our money to go see the bullshit that you keep putting out. So if you're putting out bullshit movies, we're not gonna go to your bullshit theater to pay your bullshit prices, right? Now, and MJR's and Imagine and like you said, even AMC, they got nice little deals where I don't need to fucking come see you on Friday night now. I'll wait until Tuesday. I'll
Same.
see it for $5.
Yep.
I'll get the same experience. I'll save my money and I'll move on. And
It's
especially when
really,
we're like,
really rare that I go to the movies now, not on a Tuesday.
what works
No,
out
same.
perfectly
You
for us.
hooked me onto that.
It works out perfectly for us when, say, like, I don't know, fucking Chaos Walking comes out and we're like, I don't know if I really want to. So we'll go see it on
Yes, you
Tuesday,
do.
right? So we can be like, all right, it fucking sucks, but at least I only spent $5, right?
Dude, let me say this too, because also I've noticed that Epic showing at MGR is like $7 on Tuesday, so that's still not even bad. Like you're getting your money's worth, and also like you mentioned
It's
comfortability, Morgan.
It's $10 on a Tuesday for the Screen X over in Waterford.
Yeah,
Interesting.
that's not even bad.
It's really not. I just looked at a price at AMC. It's $14 for a damn ticket.
For base price, and that used to be when I was working there. That was the price for IMAX. Now that is the price for a base normal standard movie ticket. That is insane.
Wasn't it $9?
Yeah, I think it was $9.75 when I was working there.
Yeah,
but
and
you
that
mentioned
was like 2016 or 17 that I left. 16. So.
But you mentioned comfortability because MGR a little more comfortable than AMC because the AMC I think you guys worked at is so uncomfortable. I watched Endgame in that theater and that was horrible.
That one's one. Because it's a mall and it makes the least amount of money out of all the other AMCs out there. So it's on literally the bottom of their list for upgrades. So that theater desperately needs it.
Yeah, I will at least admit that AMC, the Sterling Heights one, does have solid like quality as a theater. You know, good sound quality. It looks nice, clean, and everything like that, but just pricing wise. Yeah. But one big problem I really have, and I've noticed that ever since I switched to MJR, I get this now, is theater experience. Yeah. Because I didn't get that at AMC. I sure as hell didn't get it at Imagine, despite that being probably the most comfortable theater. But when I go to MJR, that's where the fun people are. Because literally watching Sinners.
Yeah, we literally all have more fun at MJR.
I'm not clapping still. Wait, hold on. Let me finish my thought real quick because also I'm still not clapping. But I went to see Sinners on a damn Tuesday night, and that theater was lit. It wasn't even the Thursday early showing or the Friday night. We was lit on a damn. We turned up on a Tuesday. Like that's the fun crowd. That's what I always wanted too.
Honestly, we even had a fun crowd for our Thunderbolts showing. Like. You know, we had a good time.
Okay, I'll be honest. I didn't see Thunderbolts in MJR because I was on Raven's side of town for that.
Sure.
But hell, I would say even Minecraft, I don't want to say it was lit, not the bad way, considering how they were acting. But we had a fun. No, Luke. Minecraft was amazing.
Actually, Minecraft was enjoyable.
There's your chicken jockey. You go to AMC if you hate your life. You go to Imagine if you want like a restaurant experience. And then it sounds like we go to MGR to actually like have fun and watch the movie, which is dope because like that's how it used to be when we were kids. Like we would go on a Thursday or Friday, everybody was fucking lit, you had a good time and you left. But that's just the state of like the world right now, you know what I mean? This is kind of how it is. But AMC is not doing themselves any favors by having, I think the lowest theater count for an AMC around here is like 12 or 14. Like they've got massive fucking theaters wherever you go. Like, bro, I don't know what the hell you were thinking, but having a 30-plex in this right now, it's stupid. MJR, I think at the most is 20, right? Yeah, it's completely unnecessary. But they did it to themselves. They did it to themselves.
Also, I want to say this too, but like doing the whole half price off, the only thing I thought was like, wow, MJR is already doing that, guys. Come on.
Yeah, well, that's why. Like, they gotta like take a page out of the local scene because the local theaters right now are probably doing pretty well because of that shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Support local theaters.
I ain't gonna lie though. Even if they get cheaper, I still doubt they're really gonna be better than the experience at MJR because again, that's where the fun people are.
They need a whole facelift.
Yeah, they really do.
Yeah,
it used to be. I think the thing that might have, at least for me, that held me on to going there was the fact that they would more or less get the exclusive anime releases, but now everybody gets those too. So like,
I still get them at MJR. Like our local Michigan only theater, I can go and watch the anime movies now.
Literally, there's this theater over in Taylor. I forgot exactly what it's called. They had a poster for freaking the Demon Slayer movie.
Yeah.
There you go. Everybody's catching on. So AMC needs a whole fucking facelift, but you know.
Yeah.
Good for you guys.
Go cheaper. And hopefully get a better crowd, but I don't know, man. I'm fucking with MJR now.
I'm so happy to hear I got you hooked on MJR.
Yeah, you did. You really did. I still will not clap during that intro. I refuse to clap.
I do it sometimes. Sometimes.
Raven has tried to get me so many times to do it. Like, not happening. I refuse. I utterly refuse.
All right. Anything else?
Nah.
Why, Tyler? Because I just won't.
Nah, it's kind of annoying. Sorry, but I remember, I forget what movie I saw. It might have been the original Iron Man, the first time I actually stepped foot into an MJR, and they had the fucking ushers there doing it, so you like learned. They were training you.
Hell, what was the first movie I went to see at
I've
MJR
never
again where they
seen
did
it.
that? I
That's
can't
hilarious.
remember.
I'm old.
I can't remember. Oh well. Anyway, but that's all the news we got actually. So now we
Yeah.
can actually get to
Excellent.
our movie.
Yes, Morgan, do you have the handy dandy notes?
Are you talking about like box office and budget and everything? Of course I
Well,
do.
first you gotta do a transition. I'm sorry, I jumped ahead, so we're
You're okay. You're
gonna
okay.
jump right into our
But
review
of
of
course. You can just say it. It's fine.
Thunderbolts. I wanted to see it on my screen.
Oh, okay.
You even got the dots up there. I have to pause. It's necessary. It's for
Oh my
effect.
goodness.
Anyway,
Oh.
we're gonna review Thunderbolts, Marvel's new film, starring. I'm just doing this off the top of my head. What the fuck
Do
are
you
their
need
names?
help?
I do.
Florence Pugh, Sebastian
Thank
Stan,
you.
Wyatt
Thank you.
Russell,
Thank you.
Olga Kurilenko, Lewis Pullman.
Kirilenko. That one I
Thank
know.
you.
Kirilenko.
Thank you. Geraldine Viswanathan.
I got nothing for that one.
Geraldine Viswanathan, Chris Bauer, Wendell Pierce, David Harbour, Hannah John Kamen, and Julia Louis
Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
And Lewis Pullman. I don't think I
Lewis
heard that.
Pullman.
I said Louis Pullman. Get out of here.
I don't remember hearing that. Okay.
That was literally 7 people ago.
Whatever.
I'll tell you what. There's a part of me that hates the nepotism that's in this movie, but at the same time, it's cool to see Wyatt Russell and Lewis Pullman being stuff. Like they're good. They're pretty good. Yeah. So this is Marvel Suicide Squad. I'm being honest. It is what it is.
True.
It's
Yeah,
Marvel
really is.
Suicide Squad.
Just not as good.
Ensnared in a death trap, an undercover team of anti-heroes: Elena Belova, Bucky Barnes, Red Guardian, Ghost, Taskmaster.
Well, don't get me started on that.
Yeah,
And John Walker
okay.
embark on a dangerous mission that forces them to confront the darkest corners of their past. Yeah, I don't know where you guys want to lead. The cast is impressive. It is an impressive cast.
It's fine
Would
casting.
you like to know box office?
I would love to know box office. Thank you.
All right. So we can start there. So first things first, the runtime for this film is 126 minutes long, where our budget is sitting at 180 million. Now, if we want to go into our box office, though, in mid-April 2025, Thunderbolts asterisk was projected to have a 63 to 77 million dollar opening weekend in the United States, with the target number expected to be 70 million. So by the end of the month, the film was projected to earn 70 to 75 million domestically and 160 to 175 million globally on its opening weekend, with some domestic projections going as high as 80 to 90 million. So the film actually earned 31.5 million domestically on its opening day, including 11.5 million from Thursday night previews. The film would gross 74 million in its domestic opening weekend, while also earning 86.1 million internationally for a total of 160.4 million. So they were right on the money with their projections. In its second weekend, the film made 33.1 million, remaining atop of the box office. The 55% drop was noted as good for an MCU film compared to the recent 68% second weekend decreases that we saw for Captain America: A Brave New World. Now, as of May 13th, 2025, Thunderbolts has grossed 130.4 million in the United States and Canada, and another 143 million in other territories, for now a worldwide total of $274 million. And that was as of yesterday, May 13th.
I think this will crack 400 before it's all said and done, which
I can see that.
But by Marvel standards,
it's got another couple months in theater.
Right. By Marvel standards, no great shakes, but given recent Marvel, I think is huge. And I think this movie is absolutely in the step again in the right direction. So was Brave New World. This, I think, is another step up on top of that. So it looks like we're starting to get our shit together. That being said, there's some minor issues that I have with this film, nothing major. But I mean, do you guys want to start with the actors? You know, we don't typically do too much story, but I mean, I guess we can. Like I saw it late. We saw it late. You
I
saw
saw
it.
it yesterday.
You saw it the Tuesday after it came out.
I
We
saw
just
it
saw it
last week,
yesterday.
like it on
Yeah.
time person.
Yeah, I just saw it yesterday. But again, though, even still, like he said, theater was hype. Theater was hype 2 weeks later, so that's always a
Yeah,
good sign.
that's a great sign.
Um, yeah, I wasn't too sure what to expect. My knowledge on the Thunderbolts is kind of lacking. Same with Sentry. Um, and given the fact of what Sentry does in this movie, I don't think you really need to know much about him anyway. He doesn't really do a whole lot as far as like a supervillain is concerned. That's neither here nor there. But I do really like what they do with Yelena. I do like that it's her story. I think
Love
she's
that
got
it's her story.
they actually trauma dump on each other at one point, and like, yeah, Yelena wins, like flat out. I do enjoy that, and I think every character besides one does enough to keep the plot going and not feel like they've been sidelined too much. Like they do pretty good at even giving everybody a nice little chunk. It's Yelena's movie, but everybody gets a moment.
Here you go.
I agree.
I say the characters, they're all good. I mean, I'm gonna be real with you. I didn't watch Black Widow. I still haven't, so my knowledge on Yelena isn't strong. But I know this should become really important. I still love me some Bucky. Bucky's still cool. He's got long hair again, so he's sexy again. That's what I'm talking about. I also didn't watch Falcon and Winter Soldier, but I am aware of that story. So seeing John Walker here, I kind of like John. I actually kind of like John.
John is better in this film than he was in the show.
Fair enough.
And that's, I believe, because he's at his low.
True. David Harbour as Red Guardian is pretty funny. But I'm actually very, very happy to see Ghost again. Because Ghost was a character I had a lot of sympathy for in my opinion, a very underrated MCU movie, Ant-Man and the Wasp. So it was nice to see that she finally returns, actually. So I was happy to see her again. Sentry, I think I'm on the same page. I don't know much. I'm going to be real with you, Luke. The first time I actually even heard about Sentry was when I was going through the King in Black storyline. That is actually the first time I ever was like, who the hell is Sentry? I was like, oh, so he's like Marvel Superman, apparently. And then there's Valentina.
Well, he also he kind of gets his ass whooped in that too. So,
well, I do have a little bit of knowledge about Sentry. Like I kind of like some backstory for one of his comics, thanks to a video that Tyler sent me. So thank you, Tyler. But I'll dive into that when we're like focusing on Sentry.
yeah.
So I'm kind of honestly fine with everybody we got in this. Minus maybe fucking Taskmaster, but we'll get there.
Why? No.
Are you ready for it?
Why is
who the fuck decided? Here? But also, I don't give a fuck why they're here. Whatever, it's fine. It works. Who the fuck decided to waste the character of Taskmaster?
Taskmaster. Okay, you didn't see Black Widow. Taskmaster is a waste in that as well. Like
I saw Black Widow.
Yeah, she is a waste in that as well.
Yeah.
The whole thing is awful, and I'm glad. I was cool with her being there, but I'm glad that she's gone. Right?
I'm
just
pissed
it feels like the last couple iterations with Marvel, what they've been doing, have been to tie up some loose ends. They are definitely going back and being like, yeah, we remember this is a thing. Remember that's a thing. We're gonna tie it up. So I'm cool with that. No more Taskmaster, or give me the actual Taskmaster if you're gonna do it. Yeah, it was a wasted opportunity, but at the same time, a character like that, if you do it right, is kind of OP. Taskmaster is gonna fuck most of the Marvel universe up.
Totally fair.
I would say, how the fuck did you die already? And I mean, I don't know the most about Taskmaster, but I know Taskmaster is like a fucking force to be reckoned with.
Dude, the whole point of Taskmaster is Taskmaster can very easily copy your fighting style, whatever it is. That's how Taskmaster wins. They kind of did an okay thing with it in Black Widow, but the character ended up being like a very much shell of itself by the time the movie ended. And then this. Oh my God. You're telling me a character that can see things coming like that I'm just going to spoil it, gets shot in the head within like 5 minutes of being on screen and we're done. I just went, thank God. Like, I'm done. I'm done.
Literally.
Even so much to where if you've seen Black Widow, Taskmaster and Yelena have a connection. And even Yelena goes,
Also, I want to say this fun. I still find it very fascinating that in actual comics, the only two people he will not fight is Deadpool and Moon Knight.
Yeah.
And I love this reason for not fighting Moon Knight so much.
Oh, because Moon Knight's a fucking psycho.
He's a fucking lunatic. He just crashed a whole ass plane into a building he was in.
Yeah. Same with Deadpool. Deadpool's too unpredictable.
Funny.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the whole bag. And instead I got this like augmented robot thing, which was cool in Black Widow, but it's just pointless in this. Absolutely pointless. Did not need her at all.
I just hate in general for the MCU that Taskmaster has been such a waste of a character. Not only by how they portrayed it, but now they've written so far. Currently, they've written off this version of the Taskmaster. So I hope that maybe we can get a future Taskmaster that's better. But like, because they're a fucking awesome
No,
character.
Taskmaster is a great character, but I think it's gonna, you really need to embrace it. Otherwise, you're gonna write yourself into a hole, which clearly they did here. So they were just like, fuck it, get rid of her. Okay, bye. So yeah, now that bullshit character's out of the way, that's really to me, it's really the only bad character in the movie. Like I said, I think everybody does well enough with what they have, and nobody feels like they're really sidelined except for maybe Ghost. But even still, Ghost actually gets to like do
stuff. I will say, when it comes, there are two characters in this film that I genuinely don't like. One is, of course, Taskmaster for just like, why are you here? Like, it's Vegeta screaming at Yamcha all over again. Why are you even here? But okay, can we talk about Valentina for a minute?
Yeah, go ahead. Talk about any character you want.
I fucking hate this woman. I fucking hate this woman. I hate this woman.
Hate her.
I know.
No. Go ahead.
No, you're meant to hate her, in my opinion.
Yeah, you really are, but I'm not gonna lie. I mean, she gets a good amount of focus, and I guess that's sort of a good thing. But for me, it's not, because I fucking hate this lady, and to the point where I'm like, you're kind of part of the reason why this movie ain't rated as high for me, actually, too. I hated this fucking woman. Oh man, she's Marvel's Amanda Waller. Just two people who I'm like, someone kill this person, please. Please. Sentry, strangle her, take her to the freaking sky, and then make her head pop or something. Please. And then I'll give this movie a 9 out of 10.
So
they definitely dropped the ball with Crossbones, and they have a thing about actually doing like Nazis and the actual real Hydra and shit. So I mean, like they have no balls. Sorry, Morgan, go ahead.
No, you're good. Just to continue on about Valentina, I don't hate her character. I will say though, I do like Julia Louis-Dreyfus. I got it. But even though I hate Julie, like though I like her, I don't like her as Valentina. To me, there was something just missing in her portrayal. I feel like watching Julia play this role of Valentina, I'm like, she's almost there, but it's missing just a little something for me to be this character and be this role. And I can't, even now I can't quite place it like what Julia is missing in this portrayal. But it doesn't always 100% click for me. But I do like this character. Obviously she's very important to this story. She's necessary for this story. I definitely didn't need her. I don't need her, the conclusion we have with her, or rather lack thereof.
I dug it.
I don't hate it. I would hate it more if Yelena didn't pull her power move on her. So
let me ask you this question, Morgan. Do you think you'd have liked her more if she was kind of more like Amanda Waller from like the DCE movies?
Hold on a second, real quick, before you answer. My beef with this character is her lines. I hate her dialogue.
That could be part of it too. Is like like how her dialogue's written and then her delivery of said dialogue.
I hate it.
I just
like she's trying to be funny, but it's not. It's so the humor, the lines that she says, where to me it seems like they're trying to be funny, is what I'm worried Spider-Man Noir is going to be.
Sure, no, that's fair.
Fair enough. But I hated this lady so much.
Yeah,
Like,
but
yeah, like
go
you know
ahead and
how
answer that.
Star Wars fans hated Jar Jar Binks, and that was like a big criticism for Phantom Menace. That's me right now. I cannot stand Valentina. That's a big she's a big problem for me in this movie, honestly. Like that just made that just brought it down for me, honestly.
Well, it's funny you bring up Amanda Waller because there's a lot of similarities between Marvel and DC characters anyway. So that probably is their Amanda Waller, and she's
Yes.
just
I
not
would
as good.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say I would definitely compare her to Amanda Waller for sure. Just like
except I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
you're good. Just as a comparison, like because we were talking about Taskmaster earlier, I would compare Taskmaster to someone like Two Face. So it's
Slade.
I was
Slade.
thinking,
Thank
I was
you.
thinking Deathstroke.
Slade. I meant Deathstroke. Not. Oh my god, I totally fucked it up.
Hey, he's got the multicolored helmet.
It's the helmet. It was the helmet.
No. I'm laughing because like, did you call him Two Face because of that?
What?
That's my excuse for you, Morgan. It's because he's got different
think
colors
I
on the
did.
face mask.
I
Okay,
did.
all right.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I did.
Valentina, look,
It is literally.
Oh
It has
my
been
God.
since like Green Arrow side of DCU that I have like seen anything of like for Deathstroke. Okay, it's been a hot minute.
Wait,
But no,
really?
like
yeah,
it just
that's a bit of a letdown that we never got that either. But look, Valentina is made to be hated, yeah, but like that doesn't mean her character has to have shitty lines,
no,
right?
and I
True.
completely agree with you. Completely agree. Now,
See, I want to make one more comparison to Amanda Waller because I hate Amanda Waller too because I want her to lose because of what kind of person she is.
sure.
But the one difference, and I think is definitely on Luke's side of like maybe we hate her lines, is that Viola Davis plays her so well that I low key kind of like her, but at the same time I don't. Valentina was just like, I'm done with you. Get out of
Because
here.
Amanda Waller in those movies is a fucking gangster, like Deathstroke says or Deadshot says. She is a
That is a
gangster,
mean
bro.
lady.
She does not give a fuck. Valentina's like this little weasel compared to Amanda Waller.
Oh
who
no,
holds a
for
shit
sure.
ton.
Oh my God! Yes,
She's out for
that's the best way to
herself.
put it.
Like she's definitely the person who's out for her. Like she's out only to cover her own neck. She's not there to help anybody, protect anybody. She's not even there to really help the world. She's just there to gain whatever she can gain for herself.
That's true. Amanda Waller thinks she's a good guy.
Yeah.
She thinks though, but the way she carries herself is way better, way better.
Oh, absolutely, 100% agree with you.
So okay, I don't want to get off of that lady because fuck her, seriously.
Well, I mean, she's the driving force of the fucking film. And
that's kind of another thing I hate too.
Everything happens because of her.
She's also been the driving face for a while of trying to recreate the Avengers.
Yeah, but now she's actually like, here you go, right? Like this is if there's a bad guy in the movie, it's Valentina.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not Sentry.
It's really not, or should we
No,
say
the Void?
Yeah.
So the thing is like the whole thing with Sentry and the Void that is very much from the comic book where there's a specific comic called The Sentry where, and if you guys are familiar with this, my apologies. But he was a man who was just a drunk, was drinking all the time, and was having dreams of being a superhero. However, later remembers he actually was a superhero and goes through this like journey of remembering that he can be a hero and in helping old heroes that he's worked with before regain that confidence as heroes themselves. And he's working together with them to be prepared for when the Void returns. At this time, not realizing that the Void is still a being within him, and that's why he then at the end of that comic book he has to force himself to forget that he's a superhero again, because when he doesn't know he's a superhero, he doesn't have the threat of the Void returning and taking over him. So that's kind of like they take a very like interesting comparison to that comic book into this movie, and I really enjoy it. I like how they did it. The I love the depth that this movie has because there's a lot like the theme of this is mental health and poor mental health and how to work through your struggles. And I love that. This is a theme that I think Marvel kind of touched on a little bit. We were kind of getting into that darkness when we got back to Thor 2, the one that everybody hates on, but I secretly love because it was darker and deeper. And finally, I'm happy to see them bringing us a story and they're finally being like, you know what? Let's dive into this darkness. And I think that's only possible because of the characters we actually have present in this film. Because they're all damaged goods.
I think one of my other problems. So I'll be on Sentry's. Bob, I like Bob for this. I like Bob Sentry Void and everything like that. I wish there was more focus on the setup for Void. I like the moments in the earlier where he makes contact with someone and you see their hardships and stuff like that. I like those moments, but I kind of wish we got more setup because for me, once Void finally showed up, it kind of felt like
almost like
I
a
don't want to
switch
say
was flipped.
yeah, it's just like kind of a little bit out of nowhere in a way. Like I wanted there to be a bit more setup between that. No, if Void is a problem, like they were so focused on who the hell is Bob, then it was trying to build him the Sentry, then all of a sudden Void's here.
I wish
and like
there was more struggle of that darkness within Bob. Just like see it like it's creeping and getting closer and closer to coming to the surface.
Yeah,
I think want them to do more. Period, man.
Yeah, I think Bob Sentry Void needed a lot more focus and not on fucking Valentina. Like, get her off the screen. Give more focus to who the main. I mean, sure, Valentina is the actual main threat, but like, who the problem's going to be, and like maybe get better say on how to fix it. So that was a issue I took. But for what it's worth, I mean, I thought Void was cool. Sentry, I mean, whatever, I guess. Bob when he's drunk.
I wasn't particularly a fan of either of their looks. Obviously, Void has, I would say, the better powers and the more interesting powers.
Yes.
Sentry doesn't, like I said, doesn't really do much. Like besides the Yelena and the John Walker, and who else gets the touch? Does anybody else get the touch, or is it just them two?
Valentina did.
Valentina gets the touch. Other than that,
I enjoyed Valentina's like the scene we get of Valentina as a little girl.
I was laughing at her.
I was like, man, I like this. I wish I got more like backstory or a reason to like you.
Yeah, no, that's fair. But Sentry himself doesn't do anything until he turns into the Void. Right? He has one fight, which it just looks like when we saw Superman fight the Justice League, but not as cool.
Or fun.
Yeah, or fun. Yeah. Then they go into the Void and handle it how they handle it, which the actual I saw the ending of the movie, but the like couple minutes leading up to that I missed because I really had to pee, so I had to get up. It sucked. But I came back and I was like, all right, I know what's going on. I figured it out pretty quick. But yeah, I mean the ending's fine. Bob is fine. Sentry has a lot of potential that I'm really curious to see where they go, because remember, Adam is out there too. Like they keep introducing these super powerful people, and then they're just chilling. So
I mean, we've seen the same thing with fucking Miss Marvel.
Well, like not to jump ahead, but I'm curious to see if they'll come up based off of the post credit scene. Will that lead into those characters showing up, because that might be a threat level for them. But at the same time, you're introducing these characters and you're not doing anything with them.
Before you talk anything about that post credit scene, though, I do want to say, because like how they resolve the issue with Void and Bob and his emotions, stuff like that, I'm not going to lie, that is a highlight in this movie for me. I actually loved it.
That whole sequence of them being in his like dreamscape.
Where he's like trying to fight it, but it's consuming. I'm not going to lie. And then how they snap him out of it, I welled up. And that is the second time in any MCU movie that I ever was like, wanted to cry at anything. I haven't done that since Guardians 2.
Really? Guardians 2?
Yondu.
Okay.
I tried it Yondu as well.
Still hurts. That one still hurts.
I'm an easy mark, man.
But for me, that hurt. That hit too close to home.
I love the filmmaking in that. The play, the things they did with the lighting when Yelena was talking versus when Bob was talking. When Yelena would talk, the lighting behind her and like through the windows would get a lot brighter. But then when Bob was talking, it get more shrouded and darker. They did a lot of playing of atmospheric things as well to bring out the like just the vibe and like the emotion they wanted you to feel in these moments with one another. Because at this point, Yelena had her beautiful conversation with her father. She had, she has came to this realization that she has a team. She's been fighting to help Bob, to help this man she met who is also struggling with his own demons. And like there is this moment where Yelena has thought she's been in this void. She's been struggling with her own depression in her not complacency, but almost her boredom and how lost she kind of is. She doesn't have like a main focus now that her sister is gone, and she's finally found the light at the end of the tunnel. So in those moments, she's now being that guiding light for this man stuck in his own darkness. And I love how they set that up thematically through just like the the conversations they had. I think this is some of the best line work of the entire film is in that moment with one another. And then from there alone, also just atmospherically what they were doing with the lighting behind them.
I have issues with that just because thematically some of the stuff reminded me of Suicide Squad, the first one. Because if you remember, there's a big emotional scene with like slow-mo and shit, and there's a lot of symbolism with a gun and yada yada. I mean, that's just me. I didn't hate it, but I was like, I think they took a little too many notes from Suicide Squad. And who knows? It could be coincidence, but that was my thought process
I
when this
mean,
stuff
they're
was going on.
literally the two things that are meant to compete against one another from the two franchises. So we can't help but say that there are similarities.
I suppose. I think
I,
we could do enough to differentiate because there's enough to differentiate between Suicide Squad and James Gunn's Suicide Squad. You know
True.
what I mean?
But guys, is it a bad thing that I actually liked Suicide Squad more than Thunderbolts?
No. Which one?
The first one.
Okay, so I have an interesting thing, and I gotta wait for this to come out on streaming because I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna watch them back to back and maybe try and do something with that, make a little something, something. Because I've had that thought since I left the theater. Is like there are a lot of similarities, and which one does do it better? Because the James Gunn one is its own thing. Like that's way over there. But these two, the Will Smith and this is Will Smith Suicide Squad and this, they do feel kind of samey in certain areas. And it's like, how would you judge something like that? So I think there's definitely some room there to like study them in a way and really get down to like the thematics and shit and who did do it better. Right now I can't say because I kind of keep them on equal levels. This has a better ending than Suicide Squad, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'll give it that, I suppose. Even though I still hate Valentina.
Yeah,
That's
I'll get to that more later.
She's
Yeah.
over it.
But so
I don't know
here's
what
the
you guys
thing.
want to say. I like the fight scene when they fight each other in the fucking vault. Like that was cool.
That was
So
neat.
going into this movie, honestly, not knowing that much about the Thunderbolts or Valentina
Same.
or fucking
Yeah.
Sentry, it was like, what exactly is this movie gonna be? And where does Sentry fit into this? Because he's kind of set up to be the villain. Turns out he's not, and it's really like a movie about mental health. I was like, that's pretty sweet.
I don't mind that at all. But
No.
I'm not gonna lie. When the movie was like coming out, the trailers coming out, I was like, okay, that looks kind of fun. And then people started talking. The fandom did the thing they always do. Marvel is back, but the previous movie, Marvel is dead. But the one before that, Marvel's back. But then before that, Marvel's. It's a fucking cycle. They will always say this shit over and over again. So I'm not gonna say I really have the biggest expectations for Thunderbolts to be like a spectacular Marvel film because a lot of people were like kind of gassing it up. But I'm not gonna lie, I did not love this movie. I really didn't.
Really?
It
Okay,
wasn't
so
bad.
my beef with that is also when they say shit in the marketing, like best movie since Endgame. First of
No,
all, it's not.
because
That would
even
be
Endgame wasn't that great. I mean, it was good, but not that great.
well, and that the best movie since Endgame is definitely No Way Home. That's still a Marvel movie. It's definitely No Way Home. I will argue
I
that
would,
until
I would
the end.
argue Wakanda Forever.
Okay, you might have me on that, but it definitely isn't this.
Yep,
So
definitely
that's
not.
It's way better than everything we've gotten very recently, though.
the
This is the
last
best of the
five
most
or
recent
so
stuff we've
films.
gotten.
Yes, hands down.
Mhm.
I will not argue that. This is like I said. Brave New World is a step up. This is also a step up. Is it reaching those heights? No, but keep fucking going.
These films also sadly are hindered by the fact that
Marvelisms.
they not even no, not I wasn't even getting to that.
I
Like
am.
these are filling the gaps. Like these are the scrambled movies to fill in the gap of the whole King Dynasty. And like you can there is some areas there where you can feel that there is maybe a little bit of rushness into putting together the script. Now I will say this is still ranked pretty high. I really enjoyed this film. and I think because of how it tackled its themes more than anything. Um,
Fair.
but with that being said, I genuinely think that this movie does have a hindrance, just as Captain America: Brave New World has a hindrance. Anything right now coming out are fillers to get us to the next phase. Sadly, because they're scrambling to fill in the removal of the King Dynasty.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeesh.
no, and there's this isn't as bad, but there's still those Marvelisms in there. There's still
Sure.
like the shitty dialogue and some of the
Mhm.
unnecessary fucking CGI and whatever. Um, but this is not on the level of some of the worst ones. You know what I mean? This is a good movie.
No,
I think this is a good movie, and I agree with you that it has everything to do with how by the time the movie wraps up, it's a pretty good movie. I think it's got a lot of like languishing and kind of waiting in the water type of thing going on there. But then when it ends, I think it hits, and that does help. But there's some shit you kind of got to get through.
I feel like this is definitely for me gonna be in the realm of MCU movies that I view kind of overrated. Actually, or ones that I mean, they're not actually bad movies, but I just don't like them really.
Yeah, fair.
So
Because like Morgan said, it's fucking filler. Like you don't really have to watch this movie to continue on. I don't think.
not to. I
Let's
mean, I
let's
can't
be
imagine.
honest. Our post, like, aside from like obviously what our post credit scene is, like what they're setting up for with this, with like the whole issue with Sam, that stuff isn't
Yeah,
gonna come up until much later. We're not
Civil War two,
anywhere
baby.
we're not anywhere close to that yet.
No, well,
So
because then you get the next one, and your
we have
next threat,
Fantastic
I
Four,
think,
we
is
have Secret Wars, we have Doomsday yet. Like we have so much already slated that we are not going to see the whole like fight of the Avengers versus the new Avengers anytime
I,
soon.
I do like though that if you do see this movie and you make it to the post credit scene, it does give you a reason to watch the next thing, which is Fantastic Four. That
Mhm.
I like because they don't really do that anymore. They haven't done that in a while. Things haven't
Agreed.
really been building up on each other. Now it seems like they are. It is a
It's
little
because they
rushed because it's
couldn't. They
not
removed
King.
Kang.
Fair,
I
but
am. I
it's
am
nice to
sad
see
to
them do it
report.
again.
I am sad to report that unfortunately, due to how late it was, and I could not stay for the post credit scene. But of course, I know what it is.
Yeah, and I think that obviously has a lot to do with what the next. What I mean, it does. It's going to lead right into the next thing that's coming
Yeah.
on. So
And honestly, this gave me higher
I
hope.
have
I think
thoughts.
I this gave me higher hopes for hopefully what we're gonna get from, you know, from sorry, I'm stumbling over my own words. This gives me higher hopes for what we're hopefully gonna get from Fantastic Four. I am
Yeah,
I
and
genuinely
Doomsday.
and Doomsday. I think this is though this isn't like the direct setup for those, this I think is going to be a nice transition. I hope they hold this slightly heavier, more emotional theme that this film had, because I think that these next films can have a lot of room to carry that same theme with it.
Yeah, you're on a good momentum. Keep it going. Gotta wait till Fantastic Four, which is giving me all kinds of pause just because of the last two iterations, three
Sure,
iterations really. It's
sure.
tough. They're tough characters. You got a whole fucking dynamic that you got to get into, which previously I think the original two got close. Fan Four Stick is terrible, and
Yeesh.
now we'll see what's going on with this, right? But yeah, I do like that I have excitement to see what's going on because by the time the post credit scene happened, I was like, I want to see what the how did this happen? How are we
Well,
here?
also, I'm just still being real with you guys. As I am excited and I will watch Avengers Doomsday, but the lead up to it is just it ain't it. It really ain't.
It'd be
Like we're
totally
not.
different if we had the King dynasty
Yep.
going. I think our lead up would feel very different to
It would.
Doctor Doom.
Well,
Uh,
remember, guys, that lead up wasn't that great either. It's just the
No,
fact that Jonathan
it
Majors
was
as Kang is
better.
that fucking good. Like that's why we wanted to see it because he was that good. The multiverse sucked. I'm glad we're getting away from it. The multiverse was not good overall, in my opinion. But Kang was kind of something special.
yeah, no, I
Honestly,
agree with
but
that. I think the multiverse also has left us room to like have exciting characters come in for the future of the MCU, but like
Well,
like the actual portrayal of that part of the timeline has been awful.
I have thoughts, but continue, Anthony.
I mean, like, sure, the multiversal saga was not as good, but at least Kang had buildup. Doom does not. We only know of Doom because of the announcement at freaking Comic-Con. We have not seen a glimpse of that motherfucker.
I
I think
think
he's
we're
going to
gonna
show up
get
in
it.
a post-credit scene in a Fantastic Four. At least Thanos had more buildup, too. Like, we knew for the longest time Thanos was coming.
For
Like,
like
this...
8 movies, Thanos was coming.
Exactly. And that's like, this... I think one of these days I want to have like a solid deep dive into like definitely when the Avengers Doomsday trailer comes out, I'll get way more into these thoughts. Like I'm excited for certain reasons, but also I feel like those reasons those things are happening is because they know like shit, we were supposed to do Kang, now we're doing this. Oh fuck. Hold on, we got to make people more excited. Hey, let's bring some people back actually too. I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna save this conversation for the trailer for Doomsday. Y'all do not let me forget that, otherwise I'm gonna beat your ass.
Yeah,
I
no, no,
will
no.
say
We will
though,
have discussions.
that I really think that our lead up and our proper lead up to Doomsday is going to be through Fantastic Four. I think that we're gonna have I think we're gonna have Doctor Doom connected to Galactus, and I think that's how we're gonna get our connection and our build up to it. So that's
Probably.
where I'm currently sitting at with it. So I
I
think
agree.
we're gonna get it with the next film.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Sorry, everybody. We have not really talked about Red Guardian or Ghost or John Walker because like they are there, but they're not really the focal points.
Red
True.
Guardian was
Guardian is
phenomenal.
Red Guardian
I
is
He
phenomenal
was
because of
funny.
David Harbour. David Harbour is phenomenal. Red
no
Guardian
sure
is
sure,
not, but
but
he makes
no,
that character
I
fucking
don't agree
hilarious.
with you. I don't agree with
I
you at
do.
all.
Why?
I I think Red Guardian was like is he funny and is he great because of David Harbour? Yes. However, I will say that I think Red Guardian is one of the most important side characters of this film for his assistance for Yelena and how it helps her he helps her at the end work through that. He's the weird forced glue to keep everybody together that somehow makes this work. I think that there's a lot more to give Red Guardian credit for than what you are.
I put a lot more stock into Bucky because he actually is the one that has like experience, and I mean it's Yelena's movie, but
And he barely has
I
any
would say Winter
fucking
Soldier is
lines.
the de facto
And
leader.
he has barely any fucking lines because of they just don't want to pay him. Like
He,
he's just expensive.
well, he's also the one that Deus Ex Machina everything. So
Sure, I'm not disagreeing with that, but I don't know. Like
I'm not saying
I
this to
wanted
say
more
like,
from Bucky at the same time. I think there could have been better,
well, sure,
like, actual emotional connecting dialogue with Bucky and even just Yelena. Or even just these group of misfits, because he's been in their shoes before, trying to
yeah.
get out of their darkness into where I think there could have been a better, almost like
Well,
mentorship side of him.
he
We get a
does say
little
that
hint
twice.
we
He
get a
says that
hint of
twice.
it, sure, but I don't feel it. I don't feel it like the way I feel other parts of this movie. And that's a
Hmm.
letdown to me and for Bucky.
Yeah, I suppose. I suppose. But I'm
Yeah.
sticking with my answer. Because Red Guardian's just mostly there to crack quips. And it's not until that scene that he like does something. You know, like he does stuff. He's involved in the mix and shit. He's there. But his big moment isn't until the end of the movie, you know, to say that thing to Yelena. Other than that, he's just there making funny jokes. He's there to be the comic relief. He's the funny man.
I will
Am I wrong?
say this movie had one solid comedic moment that made me hunch over laughing.
Is it the
And
limo?
it involves Genuine. I see both of your points. Honestly, that scene with Elena near the end actually was a really good scene, despite me not loving the movie. But I also do agree with. I do also see like, yeah, maybe he didn't have the most to do. It's the same with Ghost. She doesn't have an arc, but I'm just happy to see her again.
I
Yeah,
agree.
true.
I would like some better future depth from like a future film with Ghost. Like I'd like to get more from her.
I'm gonna let you finish.
True. Buck, I see both your points with Bucky. I really do as well. Like this is definitely Yelena's movie, and I get the point with John Walker. And I didn't bring this up earlier, but I'm gonna lie. Like the way this team kind of forms, I also felt a little underwhelmed because I mean, other superhero teaming up movies do, in my opinion, a pretty good job. This one, I just kind of didn't fully feel it.
Well, okay, so a problem that I have, and it could just be me. I'm tired of the diminishing returns Captain America.
Mm.
And I'm glad that they make that line in there. I forget the character's name, but she says if you put the super soldier serum in Steve Rogers, you get Captain America. But if you put it in anybody else, like you're gonna get something different. You know what I mean? Which is
Mhm.
100% true. But that's why like Cap is up here, Bucky is up here, and everybody just kind of keeps getting worse. But we keep trying to do the same thing. And now I've got 3 Captain America ripoffs in one movie. I'm like, I don't need that many fucking super serum super soldiers. You're all the same guy essentially. John Walker kind of, if it wasn't for the fact that he has that tragic backstory, I don't think he needs to be there.
Yeah.
I've got Red Guardian and Bucky. They actually make sense. John Walker, out of the 3 of them, is the one that gets hit the worst as far as not doing too much.
I do kind of like him in there because he's just kind of like sort of the dick of the group, honestly.
Oh, he is 100% the asshole, and I'm surprised they didn't give him the apple at one point. Like that's the only thing he was missing. You always give the asshole the apple.
I feel like the movie definitely didn't. I personally feel that the movie didn't really do the best job of like building the team up together and like a more like. Oh shit! I just had the words in my head and I just lost them. Son of a bitch.
I agree with you. How they came together, but when they are together, all right.
Yeah.
Eh.
No, I can give you guys that.
I love that they did the fucking Emperor's New Groove to get out of the fucking thing now. That was hilarious.
I do.
That was amazing.
Oh, I know what you mean now. Okay.
Fucking perfect. Way to go, Bob.
Cucumber. Was that
Yeah,
what they were
Bob's-
saying? Okay.
Bob's got great lines too. Like, yeah. Louis
All
Pullman
right.
plays a very good skittish young man.
Other than that, I don't have much else to go off of for Thunderbolts, if I'm being real.
No, I mean, there's pretty good action sequences. It's pretty much ground because these are, it's the Suicide Squad, so this is some more surface level actual film. They're not fighting fucking world enders. I mean, they really don't fight a world ender. You could say Sentry is, but they don't really fight him. And they just deal with, the military and shit, and that's what they're equipped for. And it's cool. There's no skybeam. Like, all right, and it's got that nice little emotional bull at the end. Like, sweet. It's
There you go.
fine. You want to score it?
Yeah, we can score it.
Sure.
How about you, Morgan? You good at it?
Yeah.
Or do you got anything else?
No, I'm good. I'm good to score.
All right. I want to go first. I'm
Okay.
going to give this a 7.5. And I think Valentina's dialogue is definite reason why it isn't higher. The fact that Sentry doesn't really do anything is a reason why it isn't higher. However, I do really like the ending. I love the messages. The characters are fun. This isn't like one of the high points for Marvel, but I feel like we are definitely back on our way. And whatever they did here is something that they should replicate and tweak just a little bit. Meaning, like, stop with the Marvel shit. Just get it together.
All right.
Marvel has gone from an underdog to that rich kid that gets everything.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right,
Morgan, you want to go next?
Sure. I'm actually higher than Luke. I rated this out like walking out of the movie theater at an 8.5. I genuinely really, really enjoyed this film. Do I agree that there are some areas that could use tweaking and adjustments to it be a like even better film? Absolutely. That's why this isn't higher than an 8.5. But for me, like these are characters. If you put aside like the maybe they're like training and what they can do with their lives. I think that their emotions and some of their like maybe destructive behaviors and whatnot can be really is something you can like really connect to as just a normal individual who we all have our own shit we go through. And I have been saying for years that Marvel, please take a darker tone with your films. You tried to and got scared away from it when you did it with Thor 2, and I think that's been things we've been missing in. I think that's part of the reason why people enjoyed Infinity War, because there was a lot of depth and emotional trauma to put us through. And I feel like having some emotional pull that's deeper than just the surface level, like friendship stuff that we get. It's another reason why I enjoyed Guardians 3 so much. It was darker, it was deeper. And I really enjoy seeing a slightly darker, more raw sort of feel and vibe to these films because I think they're necessary for them to be deeper than just a superhero film.
I
And
agree.
and that's why this film, seeing them finally do that for me, is why it's an 8.5.
All right. I'm giving this movie a 6 out of 10. This is kind of the definition for me of meh. It wasn't even that bad, but also wasn't even that good for me, honestly, either. This is just straight up maybe it would help more if I was connected to the Elena a bit more, but unfortunately I'm not. Or Red Guardian. I mean, I can still get enough out of them from this movie and understand them and everything, but maybe this what's missing is some connection because I got it with Bucky definitely, and I sort of have it with Ghost. Other than that, not really. I think everything that like you guys said, the themes I actually really like. There's a moment in this movie that really hits hard home, actually, so that was a very strong highlight. But unfortunately for me, the movie couldn't keep up with what they did right, or I should say, maybe what I like certain movies like this to do. Because they always say, "Oh, this is a team of losers" and stuff like that, or misfits and everything. And I don't think that's also played up very awesomely here because you really feel that. I feel it in the first Guardians of the Galaxy or even the Suicide Squad movies, actually. So, meh.
Fair.
Okay.
Fair. I have one more thing before I go away.
Okay.
I prefer this new Avengers as opposed to Sam Wilson's because I already know what Sam Wilson's fucking doing, and I hate it. I hate it. What's he doing, Morgan? Who's he gathering?
The
Don't say it!
Avengers!
Why would you ask her if you don't want to hear her say it? Goddamn, boy.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so I'm gonna stick with this group of Avengers and see what happens, or just do the West Coast and Sam can stay over there with the babies. It's fine.
See, and I hate that we're setting up from what obviously we see in the post credit scene. I hate that it is obviously, I know it's in the comics. I don't care that it's in the comics. I hate it, and it's setting up for like the fight of like against the Avengers, of like the new Avengers versus the Avengers, the whole lawsuit, all this bullshit. Like Sam
Civil War
fucking
2.
knows Bucky. Like you guys
Civil
are
War 2, man.
friends. You've been through shit together. Like it is just so frustrating and annoying, and I don't care and I don't want it.
It'll probably work itself out, but yeah, no, it gives you
boy.
something to look forward to.
I'm not looking forward to it though. I think it's dumb as fuck. Everybody just needs to get the fucking whatever it is out of their ass.
We don't
Also,
need
I
it
gotta
on
say one last
Avengers
thing
either.
too, because I just remembered during the credits before the
Save the
mid-credit
goddamn
scene.
world together, guys. God. Please
I
continue.
like the fact that I like that the movie's kind of already saying what the audience is probably saying. The Avengers nobody asked for, kind of comments and stuff like that. I'm
really?
like, oh, I think the movie beat you guys to it. You guys, I don't know if we can do it now. I mean, they're probably still gonna, but whatever.
I'm on board to see where this goes, but we got to get through Fantastic Four first. But yeah, anything else,
Yeah.
guys?
No, I think that does it for me today.
Excellent. So that was our review of Thunderbolts with a splish news in there. Thank you everybody for hanging out with us. Thanks for talking to us in the chat on Twitch, YouTube. You got to bring it next time. For us here at the Wannabes Podcast, I am Luke. That is Morgan. That is Anthony. I think I got it right on here. And you guys have a good night. Don't forget the popcorn. And tune in to our socials. Check out our socials, all of them. Do it so you can see what we're going to do next week. I'm not sure. They're probably not
Facebook,
sure.
Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, LinkedIn.
We're going to figure it out later, but definitely follow us on those. Is that this week? Oh, it'll probably be Final Destination.
It'll
Bloodline.
probably
Stay
be
tuned.
Final Destination.
Stay tuned.
Also, if you forget the popcorn, Void's coming and he will trap you in the darkness.
If you forget the popcorn, Morgan's gonna be waiting in your closet with some.
I also just thought about this too because I kept thinking this. Morgan, you played Kingdom Hearts?
I have. I grew up with it. Yeah.
Why does Void look like a Heartless?
Okay. No. Okay.
That's
okay,
why
okay,
I
okay.
hate
Hold
that
on.
design.
Hold on.
I hate it.
Hold on.
I'm glad we didn't talk about
Okay,
it.
if we want to talk about it, if we want to talk about it for a split second before we end this, it is like a Heartless had a child with like he looks exactly in his Void form like a shrouded Kylo Ren without his helmet, with the way he has the hair and everything. So it's like Kylo Ren and the fucking Heartless had a child. That is
yeah. I can see it.
Same.
But yeah, thank you everybody for hanging out with us. we'll see you next week. Probably going to be Final Destination, but check us out on all the socials just to make sure. Have a good night. I have been Luke.
Wait.
Morgan.
Don't forget to check out Crawl Space. Go help support Luke in his film because y'all are amazing, and any little bit helps, whether it's actually financially helping or sharing the link to friends and family. Okay, thank you. Bye.
Literally anything will help. All right, have a good night, everybody. Bye.
See you, everybody.